Okay, so let's sharpen up the focus there. There we go. Okay, all right. And we've kind of gotten our exposure. Let's flash this fill. Who's our gaffer again? James, just let's turn this fill on and off to see what it's doing.
We have a green gel on it.
I would say this is brighter than a Tegra. I can kind of show it to you.
It doesn't go magenta when it dims, which the Tegra.
Yes.
It's 1.5.
Yeah, and what I love about it is just the light control, right? This is all harnessed in right now, but I'll bring it down and now crank it up to 100%. It's a very bright light. What I've been doing with these now is when you do like car shots, when you're using like hood mounts and hostess trays, or you're on some kind of a tow rig, I use these now instead of par lights and diffusion. These punch tons of light. I'll put 400 and a 200 or two 400s, and that brings this beautiful light into the car. And then whatever is reflected in their eyes and their glasses looks like the ambience of, a hot sky outside instead of like diffusion and all that stuff. And then the sound guy, you're driving down the road and it's going. He's like, "Why, that's that sound, it's killing me." That you always have to deal with that scenario, okay? So hit the off button, okay, and hit the on button. On and off, and on and off. It's very subtle. So let's take this off for a little bit because I'm worried that we had a little more fill prior. Okay. Now we're getting a little more punch. Okay. That's a little too much. Take it down to 70%. You know how to do that?
Yep.
Okay.
Blend down.
70. Great. And then there we go. All right, so we've got that in the pocket. All right, so Peter, you're ready on the dolly. Let's do a rehearsal. So we're going to set this up where Moses is going to start over here. Okay, I'm going to say action Moses and then action dolly because he's going to be out of frame. You want to be moving when he's entering the frame. You don't want to be static. He enters the frame, then you move. So it's like Carlos is bringing us in to this room. His energy is going to kind of come in and kind of rescue and save Nicole. That's what this emotion, this camera emotion is trying to tell. You want to be basically stopped when they, just as they're touching, shaking their hands, and you want to be stopped by him saying, "Let's leave." Okay? So it's a very slow dolly. Okay? All right. So let's have you down on your knees over there with your bag, packing up your stuff. Let's see, we need to, get you at the height where we can get that, look like your head is just above water. Then what we're doing here is we're going to try to bring up a little ambience, but we don't want to also flood the back wall. So this is probably somewhere in there that's giving her a kiss of fill. Let's see your head. Let's get closer to the table a little bit. And then as high up as you can make yourself. Yes, perfect. Great. Okay. All right. So let's try a rehearsal. All right, here we go. Ready and action Carlos. Action Dolly.
What you doing?
Packing up.
Where you going?
I'm off to Turnaround Ranch in Escalante, Utah. Sounds like fun, huh? And I get to be escorted to the front office by a lovely gentleman. So it looks like I'll be going to boot camp before you. I'm sorry I was dramatic the other night. It was stupid.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't say.
No, don't. You couldn't have said anything. You couldn't have done anything. So, Mr. Nunez, it was great knowing you. I hope you have a wonderful life.
Let's leave.
And cut. Okay. So obviously you need to get in there a little more. Okay. And what else with our actors?
The head.
The head, she was lost, right? So we need to elevate her a little more when she's down in that position. Let's put 2 quarter apples underneath that. Okay. The other thing is we need to mark our actors, right? We had Moses came in and he was really hanging by the side of the table. Well, we got to create that, imagine that big column that was in the center. So so what we do is turn around and face him. Yeah, in your position. Back up. So you'll be on your knees there, and then you'll get up and you'll turn. Okay, so now go ahead and do that. Thank you, Christina.
Over here.
No, where you were is good. Now stand up. Okay, now turn to him. Okay, so we want to get them back up a little, Christina, hope. Right there. Now come in a little, Moses. Right there. Okay, so that gives us our nice 50-50. So imagine that big column is dividing them, and we have them marked. So let's mark them on that. If we were going to create this in a set environment, right, because that's what we're doing here, we would not be in a ballroom in D.C. So we would have 2 material lifts on the left and right side with a hunk of rock and roll truss. And we'd crank that up, and those lights and the flags would all exist on the rock and roll truss. And those lights would be above the frame, so our background would be completely white, and you wouldn't see any flags or sticks or anything like that. And I could position the lights to get a little better blowout, but we're so limited in our room that I'm, limited on how well I can position my lights. But you kind of get the point of what we're trying to do. We're trying to blow that out in a feeling that that's, overexposed day. Okay, so now we have their marks. Peter, you know the scene a little better now, and you can get in a little closer. Okay, let's try it again, and let's actually shoot this one. Okay, so we're going to go in with our chart, our color checker. That's going to go into the scene, and it's going to angle towards us. Now, there's a couple ways that you can do this. So if you can do the environment, you can put the color checker in the environment and know that they're going to balance all the levels, and you are going to make it pretty white in tonality. If you want this to feel cooler, because we're actually using our color temp to make it cooler, so the DIT doesn't try to take that coolness out, then you would light it with a tungsten light. So we would do the color chart at tungsten, you'd pull that out, and obviously we have all this daylight around, and then the color temperature somewhat there. Or you put it to exactly, there's varying degrees of how detailed you want to be with this thing. What I'm really looking for is in the environment with this light to kind of get the contrast range and the colors sort of in the pocket, and then I can do subtle tweaks in regards to a little more color, a little cooler, but you're in the ballpark. So either way, we could bring in a tungsten 1K Fresnel and dial it into the exact exposure that we have in our shadow area and do it out here, and then yank that out of there, or just do it in the environment, which we're doing right now. This type of thing I'm tracking only because I'm able to give it to myself. If I'm the color corrector later on my independent film and I'm a one-man band and I'm doing it all, or I'm giving it to the digital utility or the DIT, the imaging technician, where he can use that. Okay, so we're about ready to roll. So then that means I would go in with my light meter and I would take some values. So we are now at 800 or 850 ISO. Okay, we're at 23976. And so now I'm going to read what my fill light is. Which is a 2 8/10, so like a 2/8. My backlight is 11 9. Now, I haven't put my filter in because remember I've done an ND3 in there. So this meter has a very unique function, which I absolutely love, where you can hit the wrench and you can actually go filter compensation and you can say a filter pack and you can add an ND3. So now I've added an ND3 to my meter. And now when I read the fill, it should read, instead of a 2 8/10, now it's reading a 2. So it's taken that into consideration. I've lost a stop with my neutral density. So it used to be a 2 8/10, and now it's reading a 1 4 8/10. And now my my backlight is now reading an 8 8/10, 8 9/10. So I'm calling out these meter readings, and my first assistant or second assistant is writing all these down, as well as the color temp. So I'm coming in and I'm making sure this color temp is all dialed in. Right now we're looking at 5430 on my backlight, and we're looking at 5260 on my fill light. Now, if you want to be a little more accurate and worry about it bouncing all around here, you could come in here and get a little closer, and what it's truly reading is 5890. So it's closer to the light. It's obviously bouncing all around and creating this, but that's kind of where you want to read it, because whatever is filtering around is actually the real deal. Over here, in this kind of ambience that's not in the direct light, it's 5,700 degrees. So I literally go around the room and take these kind of readings, and I'm calling them out to the assistant, which has already logged the lens, the height, the focal distance, the focus distance, the color temp, what we're shooting at, T-stop, F-stop, all those things are loaded into this hand base. Now we're ready to shoot. And this starts to get very fast because you start to get so organized with it, because it's like while all the other stuff is happening, I just start spitting out this information while we're doing like second team rehearsals and everything, and so it doesn't feel like the anchor has been thrown out. Okay, so you start to integrate it. I'm just breaking it down like this so we're understanding the rituals and what we need to do before we roll. Okay, so we're ready now. So let's bring in the checker. And let's roll camera. And we got speed. Great. Okay. All right. Ready and mark it. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Here we go. And clear the frame. And let's sit up just a little bit more so we can see your head a little more. Like this. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. A little too high. There you go. Nice. All right, here we go. Ready and action, Carlos. Dolly.
What you doing?
Packing up.
Where you going?
I'm going to Turnaround Ranch in lovely Escalante, Utah, filled with all sorts of fuck-ups from around the globe. Sounds like fun, huh? And I have a lovely gentleman who's going to escort me in the front office. So it looks like I'm going to boot camp before you do. I'm sorry I was so dramatic the other night.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't.
No, don't. You couldn't have done anything. It's smart not to say anything. So, Mr. Nunez, it was great knowing you. I hope you have a wonderful life.
Let's leave.
And cut. Okay, so we're a little slow. And what you want to do also is you really don't want to, as a dolly grip, as a cinematographer, also getting in the head of the actors and the emotion. So if you get to a point and you haven't gone all the way to your mark, but this is the mark that you've set, you don't want to all of a sudden push into that mark. It's like when they shake hands, you stop, no matter where you are, because that's the right motivation for their emotion at this point. If it means you end up being wider than you were supposed to be, at least the right emotion of us being sucked into the scene is still continuing to stay at one speed, not like somebody all of a sudden just racing trying to get to the mark. Because the other day, there was somebody pushing at the right speed, and then he realized he wasn't going to make it, and he did this radical move. Well, that's something we're never going to be able to use, right? So getting inside, and it's the pacing with the actors. They'll change sometimes. They'll add a line or they'll drop lines, and you have to be very in tune with that. The dolly grip is such an important tool, an individual as an artist on the set, and that's why when I started out as a grip and as a dolly grip, you really start to understand the subtle nuances of movement and what it feels like when you're racing into somebody or when you're doing a very subtle move that you really don't want to see, but you want to feel, right? Okay, so let's try it one more time. I never put this camera at 3200 or 5600 ever. Like daylight balance, 5200. So I'm always not in the exact. You never put this thing on, you never use the clouds, you never use the sun, those are pre-programmed things. You don't ever want to use those icons. You want to actually dial it in, right? This is one of the few cameras that you can do this, where you can literally spin the dial and find your color. And I think it's one of the most powerful tools of this camera, because how I expose the scene is exactly this. I plop the camera down before I light anything, and I immediately start to scroll the wheel to whatever the ambience is. So if we showed up at Pally High and we didn't have any lights on, I would start to scroll the color temp wheel. And once I would find that, I would lock that in by doing no lighting. Then I would go into exposure. Okay, what the background, what I'm trying to hold, and I'd start to set that exposure at a level before I do any lighting and get it somewhere looking kind of, I'm holding or I'm blowing the background. Okay, that's good. All right, then I light. Much different than how I would do film, which film you come in and you start lighting. Because a lot of times, if I don't put the camera down and I don't adjust it at exposure and I don't go down the road of doing a color temp, I am missing major, awesome lighting opportunities that already are there. Because a practical that is supplied by the art department might be just enough to key the whole scene. But if you start lighting it all up, you've completely eliminated that as an option. Completely. I sat on Fathers and Daughters, I sat a laptop that Aaron Paul was working on at 3 o'clock in the morning. What would that look like? Well, you've all been there. You've all been late at night working at your laptop with no other light in the room. It looks cool, right? Because it's just this blue kind of screen that illuminates the area around you and then it falls off really stark and extreme. Well, that's how I lit the scene. I didn't bring in any other lights. I put a Word document. He worked on it. Amanda Seyfried came down the stairs. I brought like a warm light that she had turned on, a light up at the top of the stairs that streaked the stairs in the background. Behind him, you see her feet walk in the background, and then she walks completely out of the darkness and comes into that light. If I would have started lighting the scene, I would have completely not been able to take advantage of what was absolutely right there. So with these digital sensors, they see so much different than your human eye. It's incredible. Like it's 7, 8 stops in the underexposure sometimes in a weird way, you know? And you just got to plop the camera down and see what it does see before you start adding so much light. And all of you that's taking the master class tomorrow, it's so important for you to think this way. I don't want you walking up and starting to bark out orders to all your team to start putting lights up. Put the camera, select the lens, start dealing with your color temperature, and see what actually exists on the set. If we're doing Air Force One and it's practicals that are on or fluorescence or whatever, look at that and see what color temperature works very well and see where you now have to add light or maybe you don't have to. You know, think about that first before you just go diving in and just start to light up something. Because I've found a lot of times I'm looking there and I'm like, my God, that practical is going to key him. He walks over here, he's side lit, he's back lit, he's over there, he goes out of it, he comes back into it. All right, we're just going to go with that one practical. And like, oh, well, we need some sketchiness. Give me one, 800 watt metal halide coming through a window back there so there's like some coolness in the background. But that's kind of it, it's thinking less is more. Always. So we are going to try this one more time. So Moses, go ahead and get back to your number one. Thank you. And Christina, that's awesome. We're back to 4,200, which is good. Okay. And back that off just a little, Rob. She's looking a little, overlit. Good. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we don't need to do the checker anymore because we've already done it. So let's just slate it. And let me lose the display. Okay, great. Okay, and mark it. Thank you. And ready, and Axis Moses and Dolly.
What you doing?
Packing.
Where you going?
I'm going to lovely Turnabout Ranch in lovely Escalante, Utah, filled with all sorts of fuck-ups from around the globe. Sounds like fun, huh? And I get to be escorted by a lovely gentleman who's waiting for me in the principal's office. So it looks like I'm going to be going to boot camp before you do. I'm sorry I was dramatic the other night.
No, I'm sorry that I
No,
did.
don't. You couldn't have done anything. Smart not to say anything. So, Mr. Nunez, it was great knowing you. I hope you have a wonderful life.
Let's leave.
And cut. Very nice. Now you chose to not operate. Okay? It's all good.
I'm not used to all this year, but focus is done.
Focus
The
is
current,
done. All you need to do
done.
is you need to just operate
Oh,
this, okay? Just keep a little headroom, right? It's all good. I'm just throwing you under the bus.
Less is more.
Less is more. Not when it comes to the operating, dude, okay? All right? Okay, let's try that one more time. The headroom works beautiful for that first bit, but when it gets to this moment, you gotta tilt down. So let's go back. Perfect timing, Peter. That was absolutely excellent. Everything was coming together. Great performance. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Let's do this one more time with some operation. All right, roll it. Okay, now tilt down a little bit. You want to frame somewhat like that. All right, here we go. All right, ready and action, Carlos. Dolly.
Packing.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the Turnaround Ranch in lovely Escalante, Utah, filled with all sorts of fuck-ups from around the globe. That sounds like fun, huh? And I get to be escorted out by a lovely gentleman who's waiting for me in the front office. So it looks like I'm going to boot camp before you do. I'm sorry for being dramatic the other night.
No, I'm sorry for not saying.
Don't. You couldn't have said anything. It's better not to do anything. So, Mr. Nunez, it was great knowing you. I hope you have a great life.
Let's leave.
And cut. Okay, excellent, very good, perfect on that one, yes. All right, so now let's get hands and we're gonna take the dolly and the camera and get it off of this and we're gonna bring in the Movi. This device has kind of really started to shake things up in our business. Some people think that it's going to replace the Steadicam. It will not. Some people think that you're going to do everything on this thing. You cannot. But is it an incredible tool that will give you shots that you never could possibly imagine? Absolutely. So what we're going to do today is show how this camera system, the Movi M10, works very well, what it does well, and what it cannot do well. And then simple alterations to the your motion device, how you're pushing it and how you're moving it, that will be successful. So the first thing we realize is, if you can notice, that's on here are these very long arms. Okay? Do you have the short arms there, Jeremy? Let me show you what usually comes with it. Usually comes with it are these small little arms. Okay? So imagine, Justin, go ahead and pick that thing up. Okay, imagine if you had the short arms. Watch yourself there, okay? And now get in my eye line. Okay, you're a little high, a little lower, right there. Okay, that's my eye line. Well, that's where you want to be for most actors, right? If he had those short arms, look where his hands would be. Way up there. That is very difficult to hold 12 pounds for that long a period of time. So I had these extended by Movi. Now it's very difficult to hold this thing. So there's all different types of systems. You can do an easy rig system. You can do that new Walter Clausen vest that kind of goes around that looks like an Inspector Gadget. I've worn that thing and it's absolutely impressive, but you can see what that thing is, like jacket all around. You see, it's like the camera's not moving. It's staying very stable. Now, what we're going to do is, where's my key grip, Rob? Yeah, so you're going to take that from him, okay? Because we don't want Justin to get kind of tired. Now, we did some other things to combat that, which is what we call the man's ear, okay? The man's ear is this curling bar that you can buy at any kind of sporting goods, and it slings around your neck, and it goes like this, and you can put these hands right in here, and you can force against it, and it makes you even more stable. Okay, now you have to deliver this same look and feel. So let me put some ND in there. Okay, and then I'll stop down a little bit. All right, here we go. So tilt up a little bit more. Tilt up. There you go. Ooh, Jesus, a little more. See, yeah, you tilt. Yeah, it's a little delay. Okay, all right, here we go. And let's bring the slate in. Margaret. Great. Ready. And Moses. Justin.
What you doing?
Packing up.
Where you going?
I'm going to the Turnaround Ranch at lovely Escalante, Utah, full of plenty of fuck-ups from around the globe. Sounds like fun, huh? And there's a gentleman in the front office waiting for me to escort me there. So it looks like I'll be going to boot camp before you. I'm sorry about being so dramatic the other night.
I'm sorry for not.
No, don't. You couldn't have done anything. It's better that you didn't say anything. So, Mr. Nunez, it was great knowing you. I hope you have a wonderful life.
Let's leave.
And cut. Okay. So you can see that you got in there way too early. Okay, and it's not a dolly. All of a sudden, this became crazy, beautiful, slasher killer, right? You became like this stalker. It's like all of a sudden I want to like kill all the lights and them go, what? And the right? It's very hard to do this move, okay? Now we'll show you how to do it successfully. Now let's bring Moses back. Now I want you to go over his shoulder. So let me show you what I'm thinking.
Got it?
Okay? So let's slide everyone over to the right a little bit. Go, Moses, to the right. Go to the right. More right. Okay. All right. So we're going to start kind of over the shoulder like this. Okay? Clear the frame just so I can show them a rehearsal. Okay? And you're going to head in there, Moses. Ready? Hold on my action. Okay, here we go. Ready and action.
What you doing?
Packing.
Where you going?
I'm going to the Turnaround Ranch in lovely Escalante, Utah, filled with all sorts of fuck-ups from around the globe. Sounds like fun, huh? And there's a gentleman in the front office who's going to escort me there. So it looks like I'm going to be going to boot camp before you. I'm sorry, I was so dramatic the other night. It
No,
was stupid.
I'm sorry that I didn't say.
No, don't. You couldn't have said anything. You couldn't have done anything. So, Mr. Nunez, I hope you have a wonderful life. It was a pleasure knowing you.
Let's leave.
And cut.
Got it?
Okay, you see how smooth that looked because we were moving with him. If somebody is moving in the frame, this thing works like $1,000,000, okay? Now, is this the right emotion for this story? No, we don't want to get in there that close and that personal right off the bat. This wants to be, whoa, let's stay back. Let's see what's going on, then jump in, right? So we don't want to take a wide shot and immediately go into an over the shoulder. So does it work beautifully? Moving over his shoulder? Absolutely. Is it the right emotion for this story? No. Most of the time, I would have my focus puller be walking with me, and he's pulling off of having just Zen capabilities, which is what the really great focus pullers have. They never set it. They get a tape out to get a reference, but like on Fathers and Daughters, I had Eric Swanick, and I'll never forget Russell Crowe walked in, and he looks over, and he goes, "So Shane, you know you've hired the best focus puller in the world." And I said, "Yes, I do, Russell, because he's worked on 11 of your feature films," right? He was unbelievable. Like, I shot that whole movie at a T2, whether I was outside in the blazing sun or whether I was inside in a bar that was barely lit. It was a 2, and he rolled it out every time. And on a 50 mil, I was getting in to like this on her, where I had 12 inches on the lens. That was as close as it would focus. And we were doing this push in where she was like the wheels were coming off, and we wanted this intimate thing. And this is how I started using the Movi. Because imagine a dolly and an operator and all this attached to a dolly, and now you're looking, and now we're coming in. Okay, Amanda, emote. Right? It's impossible, right? It's not good. So we started clamping the Movi to the dolly. We made a whole Mitchell mount rig that clamped right to the dolly, and the dolly grip was way back here, and he would push in out of her eye line and jam that Movi right in her face, and there was no peripheral. The system is very small when you take all those arms off, and it's just, she was able to be so real because we were taking the whole physicality of what it usually takes to make a movie, and we were quinting it down into there. Now, when I was over here doing this coverage, you saw me having a little fatigue, right? The camera's moving up and down. This is exactly what I wanted, okay? For Amanda Seyfried's camera motion, she had no foundation. Her mother died at 7. Her father died at 8. Her aunt raised her, who her husband left her and was sleeping with his secretary. She was raising 2 kids, plus this girl that was kind of thrust onto him, and she was a drunk and never knew love. That was her role model. So imagine coming up at 27 years old, she had no foundation. So for her camera motion, I wanted it to be sand. Always just not there, nothing to really brick and mortar. So imagine playing on the fatigue of your operators, just that ability of them not being able to keep it consistent. It's just feeling like she's not grounded. So playing with all this, that is what I felt was the right camera motion for that movie. Handheld would have been a little too rugged. Steadicam, a little too floaty. But this device, and you can see it. I'll just show it to you how the subtlety of what I'm talking about. So let me just lens up there for a second. And you can see on the monitor or on the big screen. It's like as I'm doing it, I'm like, I'm changing height. I'm seeing a little more headroom. Then I'm losing the headroom in the foreground. She might adjust. And I'm not trying to do it. I'm just doing it because I can't hold the thing steady for 6 pages, right? So I'm playing on the physical aspects to be able to bring out the right camera motion. And anytime we felt it was like they had done too much with whether it's the Manzir or the Easy Rig, we'd rip that damn thing off and make it so they really fatigued more. Of course, we had to send them to 220 chiropractic adjustments and some neck and back surgery at the end of the movie. But hey, film, it's a sacrifice. You got to do it. Now you can see how this thing reacts a little late. You got to pan before you actually want to pan. You have to tilt before you actually have to tilt. It's a whole kind of thing where, you rub your stomach and pat your head kind of deal. I've gotten pretty accustomed to it, but it definitely takes a week or so to understand this device. So it's not something you want to rent and then all of a sudden shoot a movie with it. You want to get it a week beforehand and actually start to do these rehearsals and moving and swirling around. Because when you swirl around, people, let me show you just for a second. When you swirl around, you can't just pan. You can't just pan like this. You have to physically move your body around as well, right? Because if you just sit there and try to pan, it never catches up. So you have to physically try to, move around and be like a dolly grip at the same time to keep her in the center. It's like a whole different way to think, okay? We'll try this, and then we'll go into coverage. All right, ready, and action. Okay, and cut. Okay, so you were very linear with that, right, Jim? You want to keep her in the frame the whole time. There's these controls that they've come up with that are pretty awesome, that hangs around your neck, and you get a monitor and all that stuff, and you can use the joystick. So you see, now I'm controlling it. Okay? So now all you are is a vehicle. Okay? So slide a little more to your right, Moses. Now, just a little understanding. So you have the joystick. There's also hot gears that I built. In Fathers and Daughters, we basically did the analog to digital so you can work off of hot gears and wheels. There's this control. There's also the RC control that comes with it. This is as an added entity. I'm going to turn these pan and tilts down. So I'm going to try and keep her in the frame the whole time, because that's, if we were going to do a scene like this and this was the right camera motion, it's what he's going to that we want to see. When you went in, you went like this and then like that, right? Which could be kind of cool if we're like, what is, ooh, and then, oh my God, somebody comes out of nowhere and, go into Justin's stalker cam. You guys are making the same movie. I love it, man. It's like, you're like the 1-2 punch, Jim and Justin, JJ. Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try my best on this thing. I'm more of a wheels guy, but here we go. Ready, and action.
What you doing?
Packing.
Where you going?
I'm going to the Turnaround Ranch in lovely Escalante, Utah, filled with all sorts of fuck-ups from around the globe. Sounds like fun, huh? And there's a lovely gentleman waiting for me in the front office to escort me. So it looks like I'll be going to boot camp before you do. I'm sorry for being dramatic the other night.
No, I'm sorry
Stupid.
for not saying.
No, don't be. You couldn't have said anything. You couldn't have done anything. So, Mr. Nunez, it was great knowing you. I hope you have a wonderful life.
Let's leave.
And cut. Okay. Boy, you were bobbing and weaving like crazy, Jim. It's tough, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Now, Justin, you're going to get a second chance. Okay? Now, you are going to be, go ahead and sit on that thing. And we're going to do a dolly move without dolly track, without the dolly, without the head, and we're going to do it movie style. All right? Okay, here we go. Let's roll. You got rolling back there, Speed? Okay. Here we go. And action, Moses.
Hey, what you doing?
Packing.
Where you going?
I'm going to the Turnaround Ranch in lovely Escalante, Utah, filled with all sorts of fuck-ups from around the world. Sounds like fun, huh? And there's a lovely gentleman who's in the front office who's going to escort me. So it looks like I'm going to boot camp before you do. I'm sorry for being dramatic the other night. It was stupid.
I'm sorry for not saying.
No, don't be. You couldn't have done anything. Shouldn't have said anything. So, Mr. Nunez, it was great to know you. I hope you have a wonderful life.
Let's go.
And cut.
Got it.
Wait, you feel that fatigue? Now, let me just try something a little different here, Justin. Let's do it one more time, okay? And I want you to be lower, okay? And I want you to suck those arms in. So pull them into your body just like that, and use the height of those arms to get it to the right place. We don't have the man's ear right now, but you get the point. Yeah, and I like that low angle as well. Okay, here we go. All right, ready, and we're rolling. Speed back there. Okay, here we go. And Moses.
What you doing?
Packing.
Where you going?
I'm going to Turnaround Ranch in lovely Escalante, Utah, filled with all sorts of fuck-ups from around the globe. Sounds like fun, huh? And there's a lovely gentleman who's going to escort me into the front office. So it looks like I'm going to boot camp before you do. I'm sorry I was so dramatic the other night.
No, I'm sorry for not saying that.
No, don't. You couldn't have done anything. It was smart not to say anything. So, Mr. Nunes, it was great knowing you. I hope you have a wonderful life.
Let's get out of here.
And cut. That was much better, Justin. So what I would do with this thing is I would literally blast down the corridors in Russell Crowe's apartment with the Movi, making like a 50-foot techno crane shot right into a rockin' close-up of him, and then suck back the other direction and go all the way back. Never would I have been able to do that with any other device. So it's really, utilizing the simplicity of a wheelchair to, take your production value that much higher. I think it rents for like $20. Okay, all right, let's come in for the black magic. Now, when we go into these situations, I like to put a slider on your dolly or on your sticks. The reason being is we call it in the movie business an overkeeper. We never called it a slider because we would always have to keep the over. Now, when she stands up, she's looking this direction, okay? So there's going to have to be a sliding, per se, to keep the over-the-shoulder of Carlos in the foreground when she's in the position where then when she squares up to him, go ahead and square up to him, that's going to require a different camera position to hold the same exact over-the-shoulder. Now, back in the day before sliders, it was all the dolly grip's job. He would put down a piece of plywood when we'd go into coverage like this, and he would slowly move the dolly back and forth to keep that over the shoulder. Now, we have the ability for the operator to be able to do it, which he's not moving a mass of 300 pounds. He's now just moving the camera's mass. Let's look at our exposure here. Now, right off the bat, we know that we're way overexposed. So let's, again, we've set our camera, so now let's start to set our exposure. So it looks like you are a little tight. What's our lens? You got a 50. We need to be on a 35. So let's get a 35 mil, please. Remember, we have to factor in the crop factor on a cinema camera. It's a Super 16 sensor. So a 50 mil is the right lens to kind of do this scene, but with the crop factor, it's like 100. So we want to be, or a 85 or 90. So we want to be able to roll this out with the correct lens. The blue dot's right there. There you go. So now let's frame this baby up. All right, now let's start stopping down on the camera. Down, 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 ho. Okay, let's look at our false color. All right, we got some nuke out in the background, but she's kind of...
Her skin tones to be in the 70s or so?
Yes, 60 to 70. So right now, somebody's got my, let me adjust those to 60 to 70. That's the other cool thing about the Flanders. You can adjust your skin tone right where you want it. Okay? By just controlling these fields, and you can do your blacks. So you can bring your blacks. Look how clean the blacks are in that. It is so good because they've really seen the power of this false color. It's where it's all at. And tomorrow in the master class, I'm going to show you how so quickly we can do this exposure-wise. So right now, look straight to him for me, Christina. Christina, square off to him, please. Okay, so we're having a little bit of nuke out on her nose, okay? So we can decide whether we want to use that or maybe stop down. So stop down just another third.
So that's actually clipping?
Yeah, that's clipping. Her nose is clipping. Now it's not, okay? All right, her hair is clipping a little bit, but that doesn't look so bad, okay? And our blacks are okay. I always put them around 8, but you know, you can.
When you're doing that?
I'm just adjusting my black level, so you know this is 0 level, so that would be no detail.
Okay.
And then I bring it up to around here. My color, I like my skin tones in between 60 and 70, so you can actually change the scale. See how I can make my gray area anything I want? Gray is one of the only colors that you can see really well because it's greens and blues. So with gray, I always set my color, my skin tone around 60 and 70, which it's definitely there, but also we have that hot light that's going to be a little overexposed. And then you can bring your blacks up and down. I usually like to roll them out around 8, so I just know when they're starting to get noisy. Obviously, they're not noisy at all because if I go down to like true black at 0, they look all clean. So I'm just kind of lifting them and see if they're, and then my clip factor is at 100. So everything seems to be just within the legal range. Her hair is going a little bit and her nose is going a little bit. So now let's, and you had the black magic LUT on. So if we take that out for a second, let's go without it for a minute. And now let's start to light her. Okay, so our first stroke was creating an eyeshadow, right? She's damaged. So that's what we have pretty much right now. Just clear your hair back just a little bit, Christina, on that side. So you can see that we got a nice eyeshadow going there. Now, we could come down just a little bit more. So who's my gaffer? James. Go on the number 1 head. I want you to come down. So physically come down. Here we go. Coming down, coming down. Keep on coming. Keep on coming, Jim. A little more. Right there. Okay. Nice. I can't see a thing. Okay. Now, go on number 2 head and come down. See how you can start to communicate with your team very quickly and very simple when you start to label stuff. And they know that from left to right, this is the secret, the you know, what your head different lights are. Okay, that's good. Come down just a little bit more. Okay, so we have a beautiful eyeshadow light going on. You can see that her eye is physically shadowing right there. So we're creating that nice eyeshadow. Now I'm seeing double shadows here. Well, that's not something we definitely want to do. So I don't like that. So go ahead and pan number 2, or no, come down with the lamp right sider. Uh-oh, Rob, this is your job. Rob, you come down on the lamp right sider of the number 2 head. Yeah, just lower the whole thing. Okay, keep on coming. Keep on coming. Good. Now, pinch it into the number 2 head. Pinch, pinch, pinch. Move the whole stand left, lamp left. I want to take that light out. Keep on going. Keep on going. There we go. Okay, so now you see how we only have one shadow now. Okay, so there's only one shadow on her nose. Now what I want to do is pan that light to the left, number 2 head, James. Good. Okay, go up a little bit with it. Okay, and then Rob, fly that flag out, the lamp left side or on the number 2 head. Just drop it straight down. Get the heck out of there. And what I'm doing is I'm opening that up because now I want to use that as my bounce. The thing that you want to do is not add more lights in this room because it's just going to explode and come all over the place and you got to control them and do all that. You know, this way I can just bring in this source and we have that beautiful, light on her and it's getting in her eyes. So let's nail that there. There you go. There you go. Okay. Right like that. Lock that. Okay. Now, I'm not taking this bounce source and I'm not moving it back here because if I do that, then now I'm filling Carlos up. Right? So I want to be in front of him so I can get a nice soft feel and I'm getting this bounce source in the right eye line, so she's got that nice light in her eyes, but it's also not filling him up. Now, if we see a little bit of him, he's moving around for any reason. See how his shoulder is lit right here? Is it lit in the frame right now? Okay, we don't want that. We want our eye to go directly to Christina. So we need to flag. So let's get a 2x3 solid, and we're going to flag him off of that hard light. Okay, Rob, go ahead and set that. You're going to take the light off of Moses, but keep it on Christina, and not affect my bounce board. All right? Now, she starts this way. She starts turned like this, like that, and then she's profile. So what would it look like if we added a little flex fill over on this side? Westcott makes these really interesting flex fills that I like. You can have a hard silver, a gold, or just a white. So we'll look at that for a second. They also, if you guys are one-man bands and you're rolling out with a very small package, they make these fast flags that I absolutely love. They shrink down into little sticks and they swing right out. And then you can Velcro the silk. A red is a double and a green is a single, and they also come with a solid. Yeah, let's see. We're going to bring this in, and I want you to hold it like this. Oh, no, I'll let Mark do it. Yeah, okay. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a little reflection in her eye. So look straight out for us, Christina. Okay. Now see that little reflection in her eye that we're getting right there? So it's just, and now we're getting a little rim on her nose and her chin. I think that looks beautiful. Okay, now turn to him. Okay, and now it's not flattening her out too much. Now if we actually came way around to get that, now go ahead and look because remember we're motion picture, right? So if this was like the angle that looked like really good in her eyes, now watch what happens when she turns to him. Now it's kind of flattening out the whole side of her face. We don't want that. We want to go back over in here. So now turn profile. Now we're just getting that light in her eye and that kiss along here in her nose and her lips and her chin, and it's just getting into her eye. Now she turns, and now this becomes like just a little soft edge. Now I can show you that a little more intensity so you can see it really on steroids, which would be like a silver. So now go ahead and look profile. Okay, so now you would get that dialed in like right here. where we just have it in her eye. Okay, I would never do this, but I'm just showing you. Okay, now take it back a little around, more backy. Okay, so, you're just in the frame, come back. Oh, right there. So just pull that little hair away from your eye for just 1 second so we can see it. Okay, so it's barely in her eye, but it's separating her chin. Now turn to him. Okay, now it's playing as just like a slight little kiss underneath her chin right here. Now, turn back to profile for me, Christina. Thank you so much for working along. Now come more frontal and make that thing more intense. So we're like, if we're saying, oh, I want that thing, so come right in here. Like this. Okay? All right, hold like right there. Okay? So say that's what we wanted to do because that looks really nice on the profile like this, but now when she turns to camera, she's kind of flat, right? That's a little powerful and it's a little overpowering. So white is going to be a much more subtle way to go, and it's just finding that subtleness. Like this, I think, is still too flat. So go back to our old position mark and now turn profile to us one last time. So we can just get that in her eye. Yeah. See how it feels like it's ricocheting off the wall. That's what we want to do. We want to pull on what is actually back there. There's a lot of hot, overexposed stuff, so it makes sense that this would, come in and deliver this kind of bounce back. Now let's mess the background up a little bit. Get a couple lights, Freddie. Place those in there. Remember, her world is out of control. Crazy lights flying in. Okay, mix that up in there. Now I want more shadows, more confusion. So I'm going to go with a Charlie bar. Okay? The Charlie bar, I'm going to create some more shadow lines back here. So it's a little crazier. Okay, so you're going to want to match that kind of angle there, Rob. Okay, let me see how well he did on his flag set over here. Ooh, righty-tighty over the big leg. So let's see if it's worked. So he can move around. Looks like he's good. Give him a karate chop. Everyone's down to it. Yeah, good. It's good. Very nice set. All right. Now we'll get our angle so we can get some more crazy shadows back there. All right, now rotate it. Pan right. There you go. Now you've matched it. Okay. That's kind of nice. Good. Okay. Now, James, go on the number 3 head. All right. Now, when you're dealing with M8s or M18s, they create kind of a funky shadow because the reflector adds up on it. Now, watch when I pan the light. Pan it right on the number 3 head. Watch them start to sharpen. Bam. Okay? So you can choose to do that and get the right exposure. Let's bring it back just a little bit. Oh, right. A little more back. Oh, too much. Right there. So we've hardened the shadows a little bit. Pan yours a little more to the right. There. Oh, come back. Now that matches. So you're trying to create that nice angle there. Okay. So now we got some more craziness in the background. How are we doing with our lights? We got some lights back there, which is good. It's kind of messing it up. It would be nice. You got any other stuff? Put one right in here, kind of over the shoulder. Also create some shadows. All right. Okay. All right. I think we are ready to go. Let's look at our frame one last time. We got our over the shoulder. It feels like you're a little tight on the over. Slide to your left there. Now hinge back. Pan right. There you go. Okay. Yeah. We don't want to necessarily... We want that gap in between them because we're not sure what's going to happen. Now take that second light, the one that's low, or the high one, I guess, and move it into the background more. There you go. Okay. Fill-wise. Snap that fill on and off. over there. Yeah, let's go without it. Yeah, I like it better without it. Okay, nice. Ready to roll there, Austin? Okay, so we're going to pick this up. You're down on your knees, and you just play the whole scene. What are you doing? And just, she stands up, play your bit here, and then turn to him. We'll play the whole scene all the way to completion. Okay? All right, great. Now, this is what we obviously have our key frame that we would set the tone of, like, he walks through the door, you cut to what he sees, and then he walks into the frame, and then this is just to overlap her getting up so the editor has a way to cut into it if he wanted to or whatever. Okay, all right, roll camera, Austin. Here we go. Ready and action.
What are you doing?
Packing up.
Where are you going?
I'm going to turn around ranch in Utah. And there's a gentleman in the front office waiting for me to escort me there. And so it looks like I'm going to boot camp before you do. I'm sorry I was so dramatic the other night.
No,
it was stupid.
I'm sorry that I didn't say.
No. You couldn't have done anything. You couldn't have said anything. So, Mr. Nunez, it was great knowing you. I hope you have a wonderful life.
Let's leave.
What?
Let's get out of here. Right now.
Aren't you in the middle of an exam, like right now?
So?
I'm not letting you walk out on an exam.
I already did.
Annapolis is going to look at these grades.
You're not hearing me, are you? I don't give a shit about anything else right now. I care about midterms, grades, Annapolis, your father. Just want to be with you.
You want to be with me?
I love you.
Don't just say that.
Shut up. I love you, okay?
Guy in the front office. He's rather large.
Let's leave at sunset.
And cut. Okay, so what I was noticing on this, Austin, is in the beginning, you were desperately trying to get that shoulder. Okay, so you wanted to be, go ahead and get in your number one position there, right? So you want to be a little more, okay, now go to number two, where your profile, okay, right there. See, I think you were, I don't know if you, I think you were more over here or something. So now we've got him. Now watch what happens when she moves over. Now square up. See, now you got to come over in there. And then something that I did that's very subtle that you really didn't even see it is each time we did the performance, I kept on, when she says you want to be with you want to be with me, I was actually way over here and more on the eye line. So she was looking right into, we were looking right into her eyes. So I didn't do it on the move. I just did it, I did one take a little wider, and then I did another take right on the end, on the eye line. So when she goes, "You want to be with me?" it's like as close to the eye line as we possibly can get. Right? So we'll get him one more shot to try and get that frame and keep the over the shoulder. Then we'll go into DSLR mode. All right, here we go. Let's roll camera. Okay. And ready and action.
What are you doing?
Packing up.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Turnaround Ranch in lovely Escalante, Utah, full of all of the world's biggest fuck-ups.
Man, right.
Sounds fun, right?
Man, right.
And there's a gentleman in the front office waiting to escort me there. So it looks like I'll be going to boot camp before you.
All right, hold on. Let's, for instructional purposes here, sorry to cut your scene, but okay, yeah, now pan right there. Pan right. You got to get more of his shoulder. Okay. All right. So let's, and I don't know if Carlos is Moses' kind of, you haven't moved, right, Moses?
No, but I think I moved forward. I saw that.
Oh, okay. All right. So, all right, lock yourself down. Okay, so now slide right with your slider. Okay, there's your over. Okay, now she's profile to us. Now square up. Square up to us, Christina. Yeah. And now you want to come over a little more left when she does that. No, you stay where you are, Christina. Our camera just slides. Yeah. So you just make that little subtle adjustment. So Austin, as she does that, you're doing that little slide to counteract it. Okay? All right, let's try it again. Here we go. See, I wouldn't move your camera there, buddy, because you're gonna be in no man's land again. There you go. All right, here we go. And action.
What are you doing?
Packing up,
Where are you going?
going to turn around ranch in lovely Escalante, Utah. It's filled with all sorts of dysfunctional fuck-ups from around the globe. Sounds like fun, huh? And there's a lovely gentleman who is going to escort me there, waiting for me in the principal's office. So it looks like I'm going to go to boot camp before you do. I'm sorry I was so dramatic the other night.
No, I'm sorry that I
No,
couldn't say.
don't. You couldn't have said anything. You couldn't have done anything. So, Mr. Nunez, it was great knowing you. I hope you have a wonderful life.
Let's get out of here.
What?
Let's leave right now.
Aren't you in the middle of an exam? Like, right now?
So?
I'm not going to let you walk out on an exam.
I already did.
Annapolis is going to be looking at these grades.
You're not hearing me. I don't give a shit about anything else right now. I care about grades, midterms, Annapolis, you're your father. I just want to be with you.
You want to be with me?
I love you.
Just say that.
Shut up. I love you, all right?
The guy in the office. He's rather large.
We can leave at sunset.
Very nice. Cut. Really sweet. Very good, Austin. I helped you out a little bit. I dragged Moses over to the left a little bit. But you can see how intimate that frame is. Now we're on a 35 mil, which is kind of more of a 45, 46 mil with this whole crop factor and everything. But you can see how intimate we felt with the scene. If we had gone on 100 mil, we would have been way back, removed from the scene. The physicality of his shoulder, you could never frame that kind of strength. By coming in and wider with the lens, Carlos's shoulder is powerful, right? He's coming in. He's hopefully gonna save her and tell her that he loves her. And so by giving that wider lens and closer in, it's a whole more intimate moment instead of being a longer lens pulled back and removed from the scene. So you can see just with the lens change. So not only is our lighting doing all the stuff to help with the emotion, it's also the lens choice. And let's just look at that. Let's do this for an example while we're here. Throw on the 50 mil, okay? And that would be close to an 85 or 100, and then you would have to back up to keep your same frame. So let's see what that feels like. I lit for one camera. On Fathers and Daughters, I had to light for 3 cameras the whole time. And what I would do is I would never set this up for this style of lighting. I would go for much softer, ambient, tons of bounce coming through the window, and make it so I could shoot it with 3 cameras. When you use this harder kind of light, it's very difficult to get the right angle and all that stuff. So look how far back he is to get that shot. So it's the same shot, but look how Carlos doesn't seem near as powerful. And go ahead and look at him. Yeah. I mean, it's like a slam dunk. Look at how powerful he looks in the foreground. He looks like, and we're much more intimate with her. Where she is right now, it's all compressed. You know, it feels very flat. It feels very one-dimensional. Just with the lens. Flattens it out, makes it more removed. I feel more like a voyeur to this scene instead of being intimately with them. This is so important, these type of lens choices, that, you know, just the intimacy. It's like just wider and in closer. She still looks beautiful. The scene still works, but we're not feeling like we're way back and removed. So what we were at is a 5.6. So that's where we had stopped down to do, and I wanted, nobody said anything. So what I'm about is not giving you all the tools. We have to make mistakes, especially at our master class. That's when I let you kind of make mistakes and fail. Well, what Austin should have done, being the operator and director of photography at that moment, he sees that we looked at, you know, the monitor, and I had him at a 5.6. Well, we're dumping ND in. We're dumping 9. So let's show you what that would feel like if we dumped in an ND9. Yes, let's go back on the 35 mil. And I'll put the ND9 in. And we'll move back in closer. With a 4/3 chip sensor, you have twice the depth of field of a Super 35 sensor. So we never want to be at a 5.6. We want to be at a 1.3 because that's like having the depth of a 2 or a 2.8. Now, one thing you always want to do, because this happens all the time. You do that sequence, and then the AD say, okay, we're moving on. And we blow the whole thing up, and then the actress comes up, can I get one more? Well, the camera's already been moved, everything's been changed. So you always want to mark where the camera was and just leave it there, just for a little bit, till the dust is settled and we really are moving on. And then you can pull it up. And then that way, when we do something like this, we get really quickly right back in the pocket. Okay. Oh boy, I can't go 9 on this lens. Okay, give me the ND. Oh, I'm in control of it. Why am I asking anyone else? I'm like, give me the 6. Oh, you got it. I'm talking to myself. The lens is a 2.1, so we can't go all the way. We can only go 2 stops down, but it's fine. That gives us a 2, wide open, which is, can you give me a side-by-side on that, depth of field wise? See, look at that. So much better. The whole background is in focus behind her. Your eye doesn't know what to focus on. You want to focus on this beautiful woman that's emoting in front of us, but there's all this crap in the background. We love the stuff in the background because it creates that craziness of her world, but I still want to be directed at her, okay? Now, even if you wanted to go more, I would suggest you could even go down and create more darkness on him in regards to creating a little more neg fill. So is that lowering some fill on him? Does he become darker? So is out, in. What I'm trying to do, oh, I know where it's coming from. It's coming bouncing over here. So what if we come in like this? Is that helping? Yeah, that's definitely helping. All right, so now we've made his shoulder even darker. Yeah, now it's like, now my eye is just feeling, bam, right to her. Now we've put in the right ND. Now when you're dealing with the black magic, It has IR pollution. So you do not want to go above an ND6 without putting IR filtration in. So we took it right up to the edge. It's going to start to contaminate into the brown, into the blacks and everything. So you got to go to IR filtration, adding green in there to combat that. So we would go to IR NDs that Tiffin has, and now we'd put an ND9 in, ND 1.2, and all those on top of this. Okay, all right, let's go to the DSLR.